work we're going to look at is called the Portrait Mask from the Mblo people, and specifically the performance that this mask is used for is the Mblo. And so that's a specific ritual, specific ceremony and set of dances that this mask is utilized for. The Ivory Coast or Côte d'Ivoire is the location. So the Mblo people actually were closer to Ghana. And when the Ashanti people took over, they pushed the Mblo people a bit. And so they were displaced for a while. But the culture is the Mblo. 20th century wood and pigment, and you can tell. So this is all wood, and it has this kind of crown or headpiece on the top. So the Mblo mask are known for these really elaborate either coiffure, right, like hairdos, or decorative pieces, headpieces, and they seem to have something to do with this love of decoration and the dignity of the individual being represented on the mask. It's not a crown in the sense that this is a member of the royalty, okay? Instead, this is just part of that kind of decorative element. And like all the masks we look at, again, you have to consider the fact that this would be part of a costume, part of regalia, part of a ritual. This is not supposed to be a standalone object. And so, like, I have an African mask hanging in my bedroom, actually. And it's out of context, right? Hanging on the wall is not its original function. And so these objects were meant to be used. They were meant to be activated. And when they're removed from that context, because they weren't intended just to be decorative objects, then our understanding of them changes a bit. Okay, so the Mblo mask of the Mblo people. I put a link in here, which is really interesting. So the link is actually for this exact mask. This is when the mask sold. And so it's from Sotheby's auction house. So we'll click on it and I'll show you guys. So this mask sold, get off there, for $197,000 US dollars. So there's some information about it there. So I just think it's interesting that we have like the sale price for this, you know, obviously to a collector. It wasn't me. Maybe it was one of you guys, probably. Just waiting to tell me about it. So the Mblo masks come in all different styles. The Mblo wasn't the only ceremony they used masks for, but it was the most significant of the ceremonies they used masks for. It had a really complex buildup of dances. And so the Mblo mask is this is one type of Mblo mask. There are many of them, and they're going to vary based on the carver, right? The person making it, who would be a male, who would carve it, following some standard aesthetic norms for the culture, but they could put their own spin on it as well. So there is a diversity of the Mblo mask, and they all have the protrusion coming off the top of the head. And so that's one way that you can recognize them. They have the broad forehead, a more narrow chin, eyes looking down, similar head shape or face shape to the Mblo mask that we looked at. The downcast eyes are symbolic for respect and intelligence, wisdom, inner wisdom. And again, the function, the performance of this, not only does it honor a specific individual, which we'll talk about, it also is part of this dance. And the dance was to honor either a man or a woman in society, in the Mblo society, that was significant. So this is a commemorative type dance. The person dancing is not the person being honored. So it's not like you put on a mask that represents yourself and perform. Instead, the mask will be performed by men, and they are young, agile dancers who are representing these older, distinguished community members, whether they are male or female. This one represents a female, but the mask could be used either way. This is the context picture that College Board gives us. This was taken in 1971. We think the mask is from 1913, so this is our canon piece. And you see here Moya Janso with her stepson. Moya is the person that this exact mask was made to represent. Okay, so she is the person represented here. Now, you can look at her face and look at the mask and go, I don't see it, right? It doesn't look exactly like her, because these are going to be figure types, abstracted, idealized forms. So really long, narrow nose, and then the arch eyebrows, they kind of remind me of the Byzantine aesthetic of facial features that we've seen. A small mouth, and that very oval shape. Again, the forehead's the widest part of the face, and then has the decoration on the top. So an idealized representation of a prominent community member. Again, it could be men or women. The carver would be a man. Okay, the dancer would be a man. And then it was customary that the person being honored by the mask that's being performed at the Mblo would be present at the Mblo. So for example, when Moya's mask is being performed, she needs to be there, right? It's kind of like a double of that person. Now, again, you might be looking at it like, it doesn't look like her. I know, but that's not the goal. So try to let the realism go and recognize the fact that it's her representation. Here's a contextual photo, not of the exact type that's on the College Board, right? This image is not from College Board, but it gives you a sense of what this mask looked like performed, right? So there we see our mask. And notice, again, as I mentioned, masks are always part of a larger costume. And so if you compare what her mask, and again, it's a male dancer, but representing Moya. So if we compare the mask dance, or the clothing of the dancer, what they are wearing compared to everyone else, you can see that it's part of a costume. And so there's this raffia, the striped fabric, even parts of the decoration at the top of the mask are wrapped. Okay, so this is Moya's performance that was in her honor. So she's present, she's not the dancer, right?